Well, greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to tonight's middle of the night / early morning bonus upload, depending on wherever you live. Before we get into it, a couple links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below, the merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It doesn't cost you a cent. Click that like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go, and yes, folks, they definitely do matter. Now, everyone, I've taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into this early morning or middle of the night bonus upload, shall we? So I'm staring at this file in the studio called Unanswered Animal Attacks / Government Media Cover-Ups. And it's a very large file. I'm just trying to piece the puzzles together, connect the dots, whatever. And I look up at my wall. And I have on one part of my wall, kind of to my left, I have two artists' renditions, one of the werewolf and one of the beast of Bladenboro. And they're like on parchment. The beast of Bladenboro is on like this map of North Carolina, old parchment map or whatever. And it's got a artist sketch of the beast of Bladenboro with a couple of newspaper articles on it. It's very interesting. And then it hits me. And I'm like, wow, this is interesting. Because a lot of people think the beast of Bladenboro is cat-like, a humanoid cat-like creature. Some people have referred it to as like a Dogman. I'm really not sure what it is. Fascinated by it, though. I truly am. But as I'm staring at this, I start thinking about Brenda Hamilton. Now, the great mystery of this is they're 3 hours apart, Pantego to Bladenboro. Pantego is north of Bladenboro. And, but a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago roughly, I was talking about the beast of Bladenboro and the return back in 2018 or 2017. Roughly 160 miles away. It's roughly 2 hours, maybe 3, if you think about it. Now, the interesting case with Brenda Hamilton is that these DNA swabs that they've done have not added up. So, I'm just going to lay some facts down, and then I'll hit you with my theories. The beast of Bladenboro is supposedly 4 to 5 feet long, resembles a brownish panther, but has canine and bear characteristics. Its tracks are extremely large, measuring at 5 inches in some cases, and appear dog-like sometimes as well. It's assumed to weigh anywhere between 150 pounds to 300 pounds. The beast seems to attack at night and has attacked dogs, goats, pigs, cows, It is never heard until it's close by, in which case it's been described as a large animal breathing heavily and occasionally screaming. The animals have always been viciously attacked and sometimes drained of their blood. The first reported attack came December 29th, 1953. A resident farmer called to report a large cat-like creature had attacked his dog and dragged it into some underbrush. 2 days later, the carcasses of 2 more dogs were found. They were reported to be drained of blood. The next day, 2 more were attacked. On January 6, 1954, 21-year-old mother, Mrs. C.E. Kinlaw, apparently walked outside onto her porch when she looked up and saw the beast stalking toward her. She let out a scream and ran inside. Her husband, Charles, grabbed his gun, ran outside, only to find cat-like paws around his yard. The chief of police, Ray Flores, decides to find the beast that resides in the swampy area. But most dogs refused to follow the scent, and the few that did were later found torn apart. He suggested tying up a goat or a dog as bait for the beast, but Mayor W.G. Fussell was against this idea. Needless to say, they returned empty-handed. It was at this time a couple of roving reporters heard about an attack on several dogs from a farmer. He reported that the animal resembled a cat, and the dogs' skulls were crushed and chewed. And the town's animals attacked were spreading like wildfire. When interviewed by Carolina Farmer magazine, Mayor Fussell was quoted by saying, "A little publicity never hurt a small town," and Bladenboro became the target for hunters from as far as Arizona. The woods filled with men hunting everything from coyote to bobcat. Eventually, Mayor Fussell decided he had enough and sought to end this hunt before anyone was killed. When the body of a large female bobcat was brought into him, he took a photo with a sign saying "Beast of Bladenboro," and the town slowly returned to normal. But the attacks did not stop. 50 years later, reports of large cat-like creatures are still turning up. Early 2000s saw a host of pets and animals killed in Rowan County attacked in the same way as Bladenboro. September 2007, 60 goats were found dead and drained of blood in Lexington. Glenda and Bruce Floyd, owners of the goats, found them early one morning, 30 miles northeast of Lexington in Greensboro. Billy Yow's goats were also killed in the same way. Their throats had been ripped out and their bodies mutilated. October 2007, Bill Robinson found his 3-year-old pit bull terrier torn apart. Robinson buried the dog, but the next morning found it in the same spot where it was originally. 4 days later, Leon Williams found his 2-year-old pit bull dead. His chain was stretched out across a ditch covered in blood with pieces missing from the carcass. There was no sign of a struggle. Brown, Midway, and Rutland Roads in Brunswick County saw the death of 10 dogs during a 2-week period. The tracks of the predator matched those of the beast from Bladenboro. Resident Robert Smith found tracks around the church and neighborhood gardens, saying my fist could fit into them, and he'd never seen tracks like that before. Animal Services examined the tracks and droppings, but never determined its origin. The most recent report of an attack comes from a rural family near Lincolnton in 2010. They told police that their vehicle had been ripped and shredded, with strange claw-like marks found on the vehicle. They also noted that the tracks around the car were very strange, as they could not only find them around the vehicle and nowhere else. Tracks and animal droppings have been found, but nothing conclusive on what this creature could possibly be. Now, really quick, Lexington, North Carolina is roughly 3 hours and a couple of minutes, give or take, west of Bladenboro. Pantego, North Carolina, is roughly 3 hours and some minutes north and Pantego was the site of a horrendous attack on a human in 2019 named Brenda Hamilton, who is still in the news, and her family and residents of that community have not given up, God bless them, and will not give up until they have an answer. This is where I think the cover-up starts to happen. Brenda Hamilton, 77, was found shoulder deep in water in a roadside ditch, the victim of an animal attack. 3 days later, she would die, leaving people wondering what animal had mauled her. She was attacked at about 5:30 in the morning on February 15th, while walking her dogs in Pantego community, which is about 135 miles east of Raleigh. A family in the area told investigators they were awakened by their dogs barking by the road and investigated to find Hamilton lying in a ditch submerged up to her shoulders in water. Beaufort County Sheriff's Office said they received a 911 call at 5:47 a.m. Beaufort County EMS and paramedics arrived to find Hamilton suffering from severe injuries to her head and arms as a result of the attack. A considerable amount of blood was found on the road, leading investigators to where Hamilton was found in the ditch, according to the police press release, indicating that she had been attacked in the road and had crawled or was drugged to the ditch. Brenda was transported to the local hospital but succumbed to her injuries 3 days later without regaining consciousness. The initial suspicion fell upon Hamilton's 2 dogs that she was walking with. To no one's surprise, Hamilton's DNA was found on the dogs, but they showed no sign of aggression when the police and EMS arrived on the scene. Samples of 14 local pets were taken, and none matched any samples that had been taken from Hamilton's body. 49 different DNA tests were done and did determine, though, that at least part of what attacked her is a dog, but was ultimately inconclusive, as it could be any type of canine, from a domestic, coyote, wolf, or something more exotic. Western Carolina science teacher Maureen Hickman told commissioners the animal may have been a hybrid offspring of a dog, coyote, dog, wolf. WCTI reported. Investigating the area, investigators found some wet footprints in the road, but they were likely from the 2 dogs that had been found on the scene. All in all, the conclusion is that DNA testing has ruled out any single dog or species, but given no clear evidence as to what Brenda's attacker may have been. In addition to all this, bite marks couldn't be matched to any known animal. Even the number of teeth didn't match normal canines. In the wake of the attack on Hamilton and lack of the culprit, friends and neighbors are looking to blame a black panther for the attack. Hamilton's cousin says she believes that the animal responsible is a cougar because she saw one outside of her home just weeks earlier. I was just in awe, and it just never looked at me. Just a gaze, jet black, the longest tail you could ever imagine. Unimaginable, says Hamilton's cousin, Ollie Allen. Officials kept insisting that there are no cougars or black panthers in North Carolina, despite people keep seeing them. A video from Eagle's Nest Road in Grimsland, North Carolina. Even some investigators have said that some of the claw marks appeared to be from a cat. The problem is no DNA or physical evidence links this attack to a panther. In addition to this, panthers rarely attack people. In my experience, a cougar or panther would be far more likely to attack the dogs that were with her. No other suspects. It's worth considering that Brenda Hamilton was killed by a dogman. None of the reports mention that there were any signs of an animal feeding on her. All the wounds mentioned were on her arms and head, typical defense wounds if your attacker is your height or taller. If dogs, wolves, coyotes had dragged her down, you might expect some wounds to be on her legs. If a cougar had attacked her, they prefer to use a surprise attack and typically go for the neck. The wounds were bad enough that some investigators thought it could have been from a cougar, but again, no DNA evidence indicates a large cat. I'm sorry to get off topic on this, but the very interesting thing that was said was by one of the investigators. In my experience, a cougar or panther, or wild animal for that matter, would far more likely attack the dogs that were with her. That just instantly, I thought about the Colorado attack. I mean, her dogs are still alive and sitting at home. So, anyway, the bite marks, the attack wounds, everything does not match up to a cougar or any kind of canine that we are aware of. Could it have been a Dogman? It could have been. Could it have been whatever this beast of Bladenboro is? It could have been. Could the beast of Bladenboro be a Dogman? I don't know. Do I think so? Maybe. Maybe it is. But, I mean, until we have it in our clutches and we're grasping it by its hairy little neck and throwing it on a table to, well, figure out what the hell this thing is, we'll never know. Now, we are 2 years and 3 months into this investigation, and her community is not giving up. And I really hope they don't, because it is truly amazing. They actually had demanded that more things were done so they could have an answer, and not just because of their own concern, but because Brenda was, I mean, this woman was described as an angel. She was a teacher. She did a lot of great things for a lot of good people and probably bad people in the same, but just people in general. She was kind and didn't deserve to go out this way. Some interesting things, and I think her community knows what has been going on, is because they made a they had kind of like a community sit down, and they had a ton of questions that they wanted answers. And you know, I'm going to read these questions, and these are questions from intelligent people that I actually, in my eyes and in my mind, know they know what killed this woman, or have an idea. Why was this investigation short-lived? Why were officials so quick to dismiss the magnitude a sweet lady got mauled and killed? Why was there no attack animal named? Why were local people not involved? And why were their accounts of investigators not taken into consideration? Why is there a widely accepted public belief that the U.S. FWS Red Wolf introduction has a lot to do with this tragedy? What kind of animal killed Mrs. Hamilton? Is it safe to take a walk? Can our kids go out and play? Can we trust our government to protect us? We, the people, are not satisfied with the results of the investigation and demand the following steps to be taken. So that was their questions. This is stuff they want as well. This is a crisis situation, therefore state, federal, and local officials should act accordingly. Public meetings in the areas be held within 30 days of publicized according to the Sunshine Law to allow citizens to voice concerns about their safety, ask questions, and offer information.
Full disclosure of all parties involved in the investigation, including state and federal agencies, first responders, medical examiners, those who collected DNA, and all others involved. All agencies involved and identified in the investigation be represented at local meetings and able to answer questions. Full disclosure of the laboratory named and technician that reported or performed the DNA testing. Full disclosure of any physical DNA test results. Warnings be posted to indicate danger. Those aren't too hard. I mean, it's clearly evident that these people are not dumb. Obviously, this community, I'm guessing, has seen something. The majority of the community has seen something that they are aware of that is out there. I like the one statement. Can we trust our government to protect us? We the people are not satisfied with the results of the investigation and demand the following steps be taken. These are not hard steps to be taken. I mean, you know, they just want to make sure there's no BS going on. I mean, you're in someone else's community. Regardless, state, federal level, you should be able to ask these questions, and they should be able to, the citizens should be able to have the answers to their questions. You know, a federal employee or state employee, I thought by law had to identify themselves. I may be mistaken, but I who knows, you know. But I just thought that, but they should, you know, all those who are involved, state, federal agencies, first responders, medical examiners, those who collected DNA evidence, the laboratory, the technician, you know, anything. Because they know that the media and the government will just sweep it under the rug and it'll be case closed. Hence, Lipin, Texas, Jackson, Florida, the doctor in Georgia. I mean, she's a doctor, and that was it had to be the world's shortest investigation for a doctor. Or just a person in general. But you think because she was a doctor, there would have been some more press involved, some answers, more answers, whatever, instead of the basic BS. It's just... And the cougar, or whatever, if it, you know, the guy saying if it was a cougar, it would have attacked the dogs. Yes, absolutely. But if you're a Dogman, or you are the beast of Bladenboro, or whatever that creature is, it's evident that it travels because it's gone to Lexington from Bladenboro, to Lincolnton, Greensboro. I mean, we're talking like a radius of, you know, couple 100 miles, 150 miles. It's not hard for a creature of that stealth and size to travel. You know, especially through the woods. It doesn't have to stop for stop signs and stoplights and traffic and this and that. It can just haul ass through the woods. You know, and they did name some of the places where the DNA analysis might be getting closer to identifying. This is, you know, this is the media doing the cover-up. Might be getting closer as of... this one was done in April of 2019. Ginger Clark, a DNA analyst at the University of Florida William R. Maples Center for Forensic Medicine, has been analyzing and running diagnostic tests on evidence found at the scene of Hamilton's death since June. It's you know, one thing that they did get evidence off the flashlight, and they did get evidence from the nutria, or nutria, or whatever you call them, But yeah, I mean, a lot of it was lost in water. Or was it? I mean, for real. None of this one makes sense. But if you look at it and think about it, it does make sense. And it actually shows that a lot of the other attacks are cover-ups. And the one in Colorado, specifically, the 2 dogs are alive. Hamilton's 2 dogs were alive. Excuse me, no disrespect, Brenda Hamilton. It's just nutty, you know. I think possibly the Beast of Bladenboro, as a traveler, was snacking on the nutria, and along came Brenda with the dogs, startled it, and it probably lashed out and attacked and killed her. So, I don't know. These are just my theories on the government and media cover-up of the Brenda Hamilton case, and possibly a connection between the Brenda Hamilton case and the Beast of Bladenboro.
All right, guys, what a great way to end the night or begin the day. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. Everyone, thank you for supporting the channel. Your support is honestly what makes this channel continue to grow and go, and what makes it a place where people want to share their ideas, theories, and experiences without judgment and ridicule, simply with respect. And that's all because of you. That's the community you guys have created in the comment section, and it is appreciated. Thank you. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real. They are out there. And yes, they are dangerous. Share this information with the people you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions. Never stop searching for the truth. And God bless.